and tell Flexx company they're stupid again. All right, so today I am going to put together a quick video about installing these wraparound Cycra handguards on my Fasst Co Flexx bars. The reason that this is unique is because the Flexx bars have a pivot point, right? So they have these rubber bumpers underneath here, and that allows these bars to flex and take up some of the road vibration or impact that you feel from riding, right? So it's like an additional layer of suspension for ride comfort. They're super cool, but there's a specific way that you have to mount wraparound handguards, which I do a lot of enduro riding. I'm not doing much MX or anything like that. So I like the wraparound handguards. As you can see, these are my old ones, and these have gotten absolutely messed up. And if it wasn't for this, that would be what my fingers would look like. With that in mind, I'm going to be installing these. So I'm sure you're well aware at this point that the way that you used to mount handguards, the most popular way, right, is these old school wraparound guard mounts that they would wrap to the bar itself, right? So the bar would come in and it would mount to your bar mounts down here, and these would wrap around the bar somewhere in here. They made an upgraded version of that, which I really liked. These Cycra mounts that would actually mount to the bar mount itself and act as the top cap for the mounts. You can't use these because if you were to physically connect or create a hard connection between the end of the handlebars and the base of the handlebars, you basically negate the entire flexing capability of these mounts. A little quick note about Cycra. These handguards are the cheaper version that I opted into because, so these are the CRM version, and I think these are the like HRM or something like that. They're both pro bend bars, but they have these wide spots here where you bolt in these guards. I don't like these guards, and they don't make the solid handguard plastics for the guard. They only make these vented ones, and these things break almost as soon as they hit the dirt. I'm actually not convinced that they don't break before they hit the dirt because they're so fragile. They just snap on impact, so they're really not ideal. I really like the solid ones, so I've gone with the CRM version because they are the cheaper ones. They don't have those wide spots. It allows you to mount the solid plastics on the guards. So that's why I'm going with that version. What I had to do was buy these adapters. These adapters act as pivot points. So what you'll notice here is on the pivot point for these Flexx bars, they are threaded on the inside, both of them. These are going to screw into the end here, and then that's going to allow you to mount the handguards to those. I'm not entirely sure how these are going to work out. There's a big question mark in my mind hanging over these because it's one more point where you have more failure, or you can introduce failure, right? You've got 2 bolts instead of 1. You've got, like, this is pretty beefy aluminum still. Like, if you dropped your bike off a cliff and it hit that, is this piece of aluminum going to snap? And it's just one more thing. So it's what you have to do to mount the wraparound guards on these bars. So it may be a limiting factor, it may not be, I'm not sure. But the only way to really know is to mount them up and go and bash them on rocks and see how well they hold up. So we'll see. So I was gonna make this really nice YouTube video where I explain how to do something, and then Flexx bars happened. It's just not working out. And I've been at this for probably like a good hour now trying to figure out how to line up the angles. So, right, you've got the anti-vibration inserts in here, right? So I'm not using these things that you put in and then they spread out and tighten against the inside of the bars. So Fasst Company sells these on their website. They're the BRP adapters, which are supposed to allow you to give some pivot here at the pivot point and allow you to connect to the wraparound handguards, right? These are the Cycra brand. I don't know if they just excluded Cycra in their design. There's also these metal spacers, and those metal spacers came with these longer bolts. They also give you these shorter bolts, which these all kind of come together, and I'm assuming what they want you to do is just bolt it in like that, because these threads match these, and that would be convenient. However, this requires a tapered bolt, much like this one here, and these spacers came with these bolts. So I'm assuming that there's a way to make this work somehow, but like this is cut at an angle. The Cycra guards are flat to this, right? And they actually line up with this perfectly. So like if I didn't have to deal with this thing, it would actually work out great. So I was thinking, okay, what if I just got rid of this thing altogether, use the spacer in here with this bolt, but oh, guess what? Yeah, this bolt is too small for the hole. This is way more complicated than it needs to be. This is like an $80 adapter. Just doesn't work with these Cycra handguards. The metal bars on the inside here are 2 inches longer. Here, you can see that this is that much longer, which impedes it from connecting with the cheap version. The moral of this story, and the reason I have my old ugly bar guards on here, is because these are too long. They don't fit. They would bolt directly onto the ends here if I could do that, but unfortunately I cannot. And with the length of these, they won't match up to the angle that this thing is cut at, right? If this thing was cut to be flat with this, I think it would all line up. It would just drop down here somewhere. I don't know why they cut it at an angle like that, but really the only thing that seems to work is these shorter, the more expensive version of these Cycra handguards. A couple of other things that I noticed. So these are the bolts that were provided by BRP to go into here. The problem is that they are not tapered like these holes are. So like this is almost completely pointless. I have no idea why they provided these. But they're not the right bolts. So what I did scrounge out of the Cycra kit was the bolt out of that goes in here. So that's disappointing. It is able to flex, which I think you can see here, which is good. I mean, that's one of the desired outcomes. The other thing that I noticed is that with this bolt, so you're bolting into the end of the pivot shaft, let's call it, that goes through the length. So there's 2 arms that come up here, and then there's these cross member pieces that go in here that hold the 2 halves together. And then in the middle, there's the actual handlebar perch. And there's these are sealed. They have seals on them. On the inside, they're oiled. The shaft runs the length of it is the pivot point, right? And so when you're bolting into that pivot point, you're bolting into a shaft that's capped on both ends by these clips, the circlips. So they're clipped in, and the bar, that centerpiece is free to rotate. So there's really no actual tightening it down, right? You're just spinning, like I can see it turning on this side, you're just spinning it. So there's really no ability to actually torque that thing down tight, which is annoying and just makes me feel like those are gonna vibrate out. So I probably should put some like thread locker on that or something. But at the end of the day, it's like you can't actually get any torque on that. It's just gonna fall out. It's so close, but not good enough. I think it's really disappointing how this is all turning out, considering like these adapters are like $80, and then you go and spend $100, $120 on bar guards, which I guess if these were brand new, that would look a lot better. But I really wanted to use the other ones because, like I mentioned before, they allow you to use these solid plastic. I'm gonna run it like this because at least it's better than not having hand guards. Ultimately, I'm just kind of disappointed in how this project is turning out. All right, so I think I'm gonna wrap up this project for tonight. Thank you for bearing in here with me and this project, which is kind of a failure. I hope you learned something and you don't wind up spending an extra $120 on a pair of hand guards that you cannot use. To help support us in our failed projects so that you can save money, you should buy one of our hand mount.
We'll split the savings with you.
We'll split the savings with you, yeah. Buy one of our chin mounts that allows you to conveniently mount a GoPro to the helmet, to the chin of your helmet. We make like 70 of these things now for all different helmets. They're super cool. It's what supports our channel and helps us keep growing and keep failing so that we can bring you great content about what not to do when you're working on your bike. So also, we have a really cool podcast where we interview top racers in the sport and other people, influencers, and just about everybody in between. We sell these really cool t-shirts, so check those out while you're on our website buying them out. We'll drop links to all the stuff in the description below. And yeah, thank you.